This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, as part of day one, we will be discussing the topics that I've highlighted around the cloud. Once after the session is complete, you will get access to the materials. I'll give you access to your Google Mail ID. You will have access to some of the exam preparation materials. You will also get access to the lab materials. You can follow along with me on doing some of the lab activities. Okay, there are close to 80 to 100 labs, and don't think too much around the numbers. Okay, these labs, which are part of your fundamentals, you can complete in 2 or 3 hours if you sit for a long stretch. Actually, it is very simple labs. It's just creating few things and looking at the outputs and so on. So the entire AZ 900 labs, you can complete all the labs in just 2 to 3 hours, and the AZ 104, it has got some little bit implementation. It takes some time to implement things, so it will take some time. So maybe you can practice along for 3-4 weeks, and you can get familiar into that. And even I have got some labs for AZ 700 also. So all these things will be made available to you. Even whatever session notes that I am taking, all those will be made available to you, and you can refer these notes at a later time when you're preparing for any interviews, or if you're appearing for certification exams, you can use that. Also, there are some templates, there are some resumes that you can make use of, some sample resumes that you can pick and choose to add some verbiage to your existing resume. Okay, so all these will be made available to you. And on the other side, all the sessions will be recorded, and it will be made available to you by my YouTube channel. Okay, you can just go to my channel and you can click on the playlist here, and under that you will see a folder called Microsoft Azure English, and you will get access to the materials that we are discussing now. Okay, you can also spend some time around the migration or optimization in Azure, or tips and tricks in Azure. So these are some things which are available already in the platform, in the YouTube platform, which is open for everyone. But the session that we are discussing now, it is a private channel. Only whoever has enrolled for the session and who has given me the Gmail ID will get access to it. Okay, so you can enroll for this. I'll share the YouTube link in the chat, and as well as via the WhatsApp group. Okay, you can watch it. Okay, so that is about what you will get after this course. If in case you are missing a particular day or a particular session, you don't have to worry about it. You will get access to the session right after the session is complete. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so there are many different certification paths that are available from Microsoft, and this particular session that we are going to discuss for the next couple of months, it will be around AZ 900, which is Microsoft Azure Fundamentals. It will be around AZ 104, and we will also cover AZ 700, which is designing and implementing Microsoft Azure Network Solution. Okay, other than this, I'm also having courses on AZ 305 and also AZ 500. So I have 30 hours of session for each of them. This is outside of the current syllabus that we are discussing. So end of the session, you will be able to complete AZ 900, AZ 104, and AZ 700. These are the 3 exams the sessions are focused towards. Okay, there are many different certifications and certification paths that are available, but for now we are focused on this. And if you are interested in completing the security engineer certification or solutions architect certification, you can attend my 30 hours course on the respective security and the designing course. Okay, so ideally, like most of them, when they complete the session, I always recommend them to start with fundamentals so that they get to understand the base very well. Okay, so they get to understand the core concepts around the cloud. They get to understand what are the different Azure services that are available, which products can be used for what, and you'll also get to understand their pricing strategy and a couple of more items. So always start with the fundamentals. That will give you a very good base to start with any product or program. And generally most of them complete the certification within a month. Okay, so you can attend the course. As I told you, I have given a link to you, right? I have given a link to all of you in the chat. I think few of them recently joined to the group. I just saw that. So if you click on this link, this will take you to a portal where you can register for a Microsoft event directly from Microsoft. Okay, it's a direct Microsoft Azure event. It is going to happen on next Monday and Tuesday, 17th of October and 18th of October. It will be a 2-hour session on around, I think, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So you can enter your details. So whatever email that you're using for registration, this email ID will be eligible for appearing to Microsoft Azure Fundamental Exam without any cost. So AZ 900 exam will be free of cost for you if you are attending this session, and they will cover only these aspects: Azure Cloud, core Azure services, and some of the management tools that are available, and something around the pricing and security. So these are the things that will be discussed in that. I'll provide you the link again in this chat group in the GoToMeeting. You can also use that. Okay, I'm just providing it on the WhatsApp chat also. If some of you are not able to use the GoToMeeting chat, I'm just going to ping you the same in the WhatsApp group. Okay, you can register for this session. This is a Microsoft Direct online event. Attending this, you will get a free voucher for appearing AZ 900 without any cost. Otherwise, you have to pay 4,750 rupees, which is unwanted. Okay, I'm just putting it on the chat here on the WhatsApp group. Okay, you should have the link here. Okay, you can use that. Also, I'll provide my what do you call the YouTube channel link. I think few of you have recently joined my group. Okay, just a second. So you guys can register for it. Okay, so it becomes full just before just 4 days before this slot. Okay, it is available now. You can go and register for it. There is another session which starts tomorrow, day after tomorrow, but I think it is too early for you guys to go and attend it. Okay, so I've given the link for both Microsoft Online event as well as my YouTube channel, where you'll get access to your Azure recording. Okay, so that is done. Let me also copy paste the YouTube channel link here in the GoToMeeting chat. Okay, fine. So coming back here, so once after you register for this Microsoft Azure Virtual Training Day Fundamental event, so you will get a confirmation after your attendance. You have to attend it, okay? Not just registering it, you have to attend it. Once after you attend it, you can go and register for the exam in the portal, in the PSN portal or the PSI portal. You will see an option to go and enter your email address. Once after you enter your email address, you will see an option to go and select Microsoft Training Day attendance, and you can claim this. If you click on this claim option in the Pearson portal, you will get the complete cost of the exam redeemed for you. This is the voucher that you'll get, and the entire 4,800 rupees will be waived off. You can go and appear for the exam for free. Okay, this is the first step for your AZ 900. Okay, there are many ways to go and appear for other exams also free of cost. If you are working for an MNC or any larger organization, all the exams, all the Microsoft exams are free of cost for you. I'll guide you through on how to do that, how to register for it. But in general, most of them go and complete the exam right after they complete the attendance. So you can go and refer the exam dumps, and also once after you attend the Microsoft Direct event, you'll get a lot of information that is focused only for this exam. But whatever I am covering here, okay, so it is going to be more beyond that particular thing. So I'm covering AZ 900, 104, and I'm also covering AZ 700, all three exams together. Okay, for AZ 900, the content is very small. Okay, so they will ask about cloud concept, core Azure services, something around the privacy, compliance, and trust, and pricing and support. Yeah, if there are questions, you can feel free to ask anytime. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I thought there is a question. Okay, then fine. So all the Microsoft exams are having a score of 1,000. Okay, and you have to take 700 out of 1,000 to pass the exam. So in AZ 900 example, you'll have around 40 to 46 questions, and you'll have 60 minutes to complete the exam. Okay, so just a second, I don't know. Yeah, so Yeah, so you'll get 60 minutes time to complete this multiple choice question exam, and you have to score 700 out of the 1000 total points. Okay, and after you attend the online event, and if you are not getting an email response within 5 business days, you can send out an email to techskillsupport@microsoft.com. They will send you the voucher details. You can go and claim that. Okay, so I hope you are able to follow me. Okay, so there are some
Yes.
labs. Okay, perfect. So there are some labs that you'll have to practice before appearing for the exam. So all these lab materials are available in the Google Drive. I'll give you access. It will be more about going and creating a database, creating a storage, implementing a key vault. It will be very basic thing. How to open a support request, how to calculate, how to use the pricing calculator. It is getting exposed to Azure products and services. It won't be too tough. You can complete all these 23 labs maybe within 2-3 hours. Okay, so after completing this labs, after completing the Azure online event and referring the exam materials, you can appear for the exam within a week or two. Okay, try to complete AZ 900 before end of this month. Most of the people who attend my session, they complete it within a month, and they start focusing on the next exam, the 104 exam. So by end of this year, target for completing the administrator level exam also. Okay, and the architect level exams, it will take some time. Okay, so don't get into that level for now. So focus on AZ 900 step by step. Okay, so and then I will go on to complete the AZ 104 exam. So AZ 104, it will be focused on compute, network, identities, storage, and Azure subscription and resources. So these are the areas where you will be tested. So going as per our syllabus, okay, we will be discussing all these things and more beyond what is needed for AZ 104. So we'll have separate day sessions on compute, we'll have separate day sessions on network, we'll have sessions on Active Directory, data, storage, database, backup, app services, security, migration, disaster recovery, command line management, automation, monitoring, governance, and containers. So we are planning to have all these 20 modules completed by end of this year. If possible, we'll complete it, or at least we'll complete all the contents before end of this year for appearing for those two exams, AZ 104 and AZ 900. So some portion might be covered, maybe, I'm speculating here, but we should be able to complete as per plan if there are no unplanned leave or whatever. Okay, so as per the plan now, we have sessions scheduled until 24th of December. We'll have a break in between where we'll have some Diwali weekend. Okay, so it's so there was a small network glitch. Okay, so as per plan, we are going to complete the session by 24th of December, and in between we'll have 1 week break for Diwali. Maybe most of you are traveling or most of you are not available because of the festival. Okay, otherwise we don't have any break in between. Okay, so all the sessions will be recorded and you'll get access to the session. And if you are a person who can understand Tamil, you will also get access to Azure Tamil session. And also it is lifetime accessible. And whenever I update the syllabus or if I give a new content, okay, you'll get access to the new content automatically. Okay, so you can also attend my again a new session if in case you have some commitments or whatever reason you are not able to attend this. You can take a retake, that's fine. Okay, and you don't have to pay anything for that. Okay, so with that, any questions on the basics or the logistics that I've shared so far before getting into today's session? Any questions so far from anyone? Is my audio clear? You guys are able to listen to me properly?
Yeah, you're audible still.
Okay,
Yes, sir, it's clear.
okay then. Thank you.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, great. Okay, so generally I have a mechanism or I have a way to share the content. Generally, I use Excel format to capture all the discussions that we are doing, and then I'll share across this sheets with you so that it can act as a reference document. You can also, when you learn on yourself, you can improve the content within this particular document. Okay, let's start with cloud definition. Okay, so what is cloud? And then we'll move on to discuss what are the cloud benefits that we have. and then we'll discuss about the other contents today. Okay, when it comes to cloud, okay, so how do we define cloud? So we have a very good definition from the cloud providers. They call it as on-demand delivery of any IT related products, which can be applications or it can be infrastructure. Okay, and they are providing it via cloud services platform. I'll explain this, no worries. Okay, so through the internet channel, and they are calling it as with pay as you go pricing model. So if you look at this definition, within this definition, there are at least 3 to 4 advantages. So the first thing that they talk about is on-demand delivery. You will get anything on demand. So if you want something, it is available to be accessed from anywhere, anytime, because this is public cloud, right? So if you are connected to the internet, you will get access to the resources anytime or anywhere on the network, right? So that is on demand. And the other way of looking at it is like, for example, if you need 10 terabytes of additional storage, or if you need additional 20 servers immediately, you will get everything on demand, not just accessibility, even the resources, the compute resource or storage resource or databases. If you want to scale out, if you want to have more capacity, you can completely increase or decrease on demand based on your need. Okay, so that is first thing. And they are conveying that almost any IT related applications or infrastructure are available. Maybe Achut, you have to rejoin. So let's see. Please rejoin if you are not hearing me. Yeah. So, and you are accessing it using cloud services platform. Okay, when I say cloud services platform, there are many cloud services platform that are available. Okay, like your Microsoft Azure is what we are going to discuss in the next 20 days. And we also have AWS, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, Alibaba Cloud Platform, and so on. So there are many platforms that are available. Sudhakar, you're not able to hear me?
Can you increase the font size?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if you're using browser, maybe you can close unwanted screen like chat and other things, because that
Okay,
might eat up your screen. Okay, if you're having any unnecessary pane or whatever, you can close them. You can just have only the screen sharing open for you.
sure.
Just close all the sessions and maximize your screen so that you will be able to see it. But now I think
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should be able to view it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now it's okay.
Perfect. Thank you. So cloud services platform is nothing but the portal or the single sign-on portal through which you will be accessing all the products and services. And since these products, whatever we are discussing, these are all public cloud products, right? It's public cloud platform. Any general public can access it. Okay, so you will access it through the internet provider channel. And the next advantage we see is pay as you go pricing model. So this is utility model, right? So whatever you are consuming, like your household utilities like electricity or whatever monthly expenses, you are going to consume it, and then you are going to pay for what you have consumed, or pay whatever you have utilized, you are going to pay for it. So that is the model we have. It is utility model when it comes to pricing. Okay, so pay as per usage. For example, if you are consuming certain amounts of units of electricity, you will pay for that. Okay, so whatever you are consuming, whatever you are utilizing, you have to pay for what you have consumed. Pay as per consumption or pay as per utilization. Okay, that is the model we have in cloud. Okay, so the definition is clearly stating that you can access the resources on demand, and it is available via a cloud services platform, and you can access it through the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing model. So that is what they are conveying using this definition. If someone is asking for a definition, this is a good definition. Okay, and generally, cloud by itself is a multi-tenant solution, meaning many customers or many different clients or customers will be accessing. Okay, so since it is open for every general public, okay, so many general public as well as organizations and customers will be consuming it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the benefits. Okay, there are maybe 20-30 benefits, but let's talk about the key benefits whenever you are appearing for exam or whenever you are appearing for interviews. So these things you can focus, but we need not limit our answers only to this. Okay, so there are much more benefits beyond that, but I'll just convey few sample benefits here. Okay, so the very first benefit that I would let's see. Let the first one is trading Capex into Opex. Okay, there are some new terms for some of them. Don't worry about it. So Capex means it is capital expenditure. Okay, so capital expenditure means we have to invest on something upfront. For example, if you want to build your own data center, or if you want to build your own house, or if you want to buy a car, you have to do some capital investment. You have to do some capital expenditure, and then you have to start your business. Whereas in cloud model, it is operational expense model. So operational expense means whatever you are consuming, you have to just only pay for the operational expenditure, what you have consumed and what you have maintained and doing. Okay, so in cloud, there is no, you can also go for Capex model, but primarily cloud is a operational model category. Okay, you can just pay after what you have utilized or what you have consumed. Okay, there is no upfront investment is what I'm trying to convey here. Okay, there is no upfront investment that is needed. In cloud, you can go and create servers, you can go and get some storage space like what you have been doing, right? For example, if you go and get some Google Drive space after a month, whatever you have consumed or whatever you have stored, for which you will have to pay for it. Similarly, if you are going and buying some servers or storage or databases, you can purchase it, use it, and once after the month end is reaching, they will generate a bill and you'll have to pay for the bill. They will not take anything automatically from your account. You will have to pay for what you have consumed. Okay, there is no upfront investment needed in the cloud. So the next thing is you don't have to guess any capacity. So this is a bigger challenge in on-premises, right? See, for example, if you are a startup organization or if you are if you are starting up a new business unit within your organization, generally you go with assumptions. Maybe you will think that you will have 100 users or 1,000 users, or you will go with some rough capacity or rough estimation. And for that rough estimation, you will go and procure the compute device. So that is what is happening in the past, right? 15-20 years before the cloud. In the data center, if someone from the business unit is coming to you and asking for a server, you will ask how many number of users will be using it, or how much load will be there on the application, or what kind of application we are going to load on that particular server. So based on that, you will go and suggest some specifications for your hardware. So you will go and say that you need X amount of memory, X amount of CPU, and X amount of storage space for satisfying your business application requirement. So you will provide that estimate based on the understanding, and in some cases you might go and do a underutilization in terms of capacity, or you will go and overestimate things. Okay, you will go and invest on something which is not really needed immediately, and you will end up wasting a lot of money. See, for example, think about this. I'm starting a new business. So today I'll have 100 users, and in the next year I'm just planning that I'll have 1,000 users, and over the period of 3 years I might get 10,000 users. This is what I'm planning. Okay, and when you go and buy the hardware, you cannot go and buy the hardware for 100 users now, and you cannot change it, or you cannot go and change the resourcing year on year. So instead, how you will go and do, you will go and purchase a server that can satisfy 10,000 users when it comes to connections or accessing the application or whatever. So whenever you go for guessing the capacity, most of the cases you will end up buying a hardware which is multiple times than your expectation. In cloud, you can go and purchase a server which is a basic model, and based on the business trend, and if your business application is adding more users and adding more business value, you can go and increase the size of the server on the cloud without much downtime. Okay, so you don't have to guess capacity is what I'm saying. In the cloud, you can go and invest on something without guessing capacity in the cloud. In on-premises, you have to guess the capacity. You have to come up with a server model and storage size and all those things, just going through a rough assumption. Okay, this is the big challenge in on-premises. There is a lot of revenue leakage. There is a lot of cost issues. Even sometimes, if you are underestimating something and there are a lot of users, you will end up having a lot of performance issues, and you'll have a lot of challenges. So you don't have to guess capacity in the cloud. So you can go and scale out your resources. You can increase the resources as and when you need it. Okay, the next biggest benefit from cloud is you are benefiting from massive economies of scale. So this means, okay, providers like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they already have built out a massive infrastructure landscape across the globe. So they already have invested in IT data centers across the globe, and you can go and expand your business into different regions wherever they are present. For example, if you're running your business in India and you want to move out to another location like Singapore or Malaysia or whatever, so already the economy or already the IT data centers are available for scaling out your business. You just have to go and clone your application to the new data center or the new region, and you can grow your business within few minutes. See, think about the olden way of dealing with this. If you want to expand your business in a new country or a new region, you have to go and invest on finding a real estate. You have to build a data center. You have to buy the hardware. You have to set up the environment for surveillance, internet connections, battery backup, licensing, software. There is a lot of headache before you go and expand your business. But now the IT infrastructure is available across the globe, and you can go and benefit from the massive economy of scale by just expanding or cloning your application to different region. Okay, now compared to your previous days, there is a very high increased agility or speed, I can say. Okay, so when I say increased agility or speed, I'm talking about the time to market. What exactly time to market is? So time to market means, so when you have the application code ready, okay, and the time taken to make your application ready for the end users. See, for example, the time taken, if you have prepared the code today, okay, in general traditional data center, if you want to take that application to the end user, generally buying a server and getting that server prepared, deployed, created and configured as per the application requirement, it generally takes 3 to 6 months. But in cloud, if you want a server with X amount of capacity and Y amount of storage, you will get it in few minutes. Okay, so once the application code is ready, you can deploy the code into the server and you can make it available for the end users within few minutes. So in traditional data center, it used to be 3 to 6 months. Now it is just few minutes. It's like 10 to 15 minutes time is what it takes for taking your application to the end users. It is very quick here. That is what we call it as time to market, taking your application to the market. And going global, if you are doing good with your application, if you're doing good with your business, and if you want to expand your business in a geographical region, you can expand your business within minutes. Okay, so and you can stop spending money on data centers. You can stop spending money in maintaining your data center. So let me take a look at here. Yeah, so you can, that is the next sixth benefit. So when it comes to benefit for examination standpoint or interview standpoint, you can talk these things, but I'll explain few more benefits now, which is beyond the exam point of view. Okay, let me talk that. Stop spending money in running or maintaining your data centers, because data center is now being maintained by Microsoft or Amazon or Google. You are just running your application and you are paying for what your application is consuming in the data center. You are not paying for the entire data center maintenance or running it. Okay, this is from general exam standpoint, but we'll now talk about some other generic benefits around from the cloud. Okay, let me listen to you guys as well. Okay, I don't want to share whatever I just know. Okay, from your view, what do you feel as the biggest advantage in choosing the cloud? So if I ask you a question, why you want to migrate your application to cloud, or why you want to learn cloud, or why you have chosen cloud computing, what you will say?
In terms of maintaining the on-prem infrastructure, it's better to have on the cloud because you don't need to replace your hard disks. You don't need to have further maintenance charges on those things.
Very good, Mohammed. Let's spend little more, a few more minutes on that. Okay, so thank you, Mohammed, for that. So that is good. So on premises means it is your local data center. So for your company, you'll have your own data center, right? That is what we generally call it as on premises. And maintaining this particular on premises, there are a lot of things you have to do. Upgrade of your hardware, upgrade of your software. You have to do a lot of routine patching. You have to go and take care of licensing. You'll have to do the routine connection checks in the network. So there are a lot of maintenance activities. You have to do patching. You have to do upgrade of your operating systems. So in order to do all these things, you have to spend money in doing the maintenance activity, as well as you have to pay for the manpower, whoever is doing that activity, right? Whoever is coming and replacing the hardware, or whoever is doing a failed fix of a failed component, or whatever patching activity. So for all these things, you have to pay from your packet if it is a on-premises data center. If you're owning your own data center, you have to pay for it. See, you know that, right? So if you can compare these things, or there are a lot of analogy in real time which you can compare. See, for example, if you have your own house, what you have to do, you are the one who need to maintain everything. If there is a leakage, if there is a pipe issue, or if there is a kind of crack in the house, you have to own the complete cost of maintaining it. But think about staying in a rented apartment or staying in a flat community. Okay, so always it's a shared cost there. Whatever, if there is a lift in maintenance, or if there is something which is failing on common, there is a lot of shared cost that comes into place there. Okay, you don't have to spend everything in from your packet. Similarly here, you can compare public cloud environment as a kind of flat community, whereas on-premises data center, you have your own house, you have to build it from your scratch, and you have to maintain it alone. Okay, but public cloud is being shared by multiple customers, multiple companies. So you are doing a shared costing there. You are sharing the cost for any maintenance or any specific activities that is happening in the data center level. Very good point, Mohammed. So any other point you have?
High availability.
Okay, so you get a lot of options in terms of availability, right? So in public cloud, there are multiple data centers within the same region, and you have some concepts around availability zone, availability set, and others. I'll discuss that tomorrow. But there are multiple data center in a specific region, and if there is a data center level failure, or if there is a rack level issue, or if there is a server level failure, definitely you have a lot of options to have your workload placed into two different server or two different data center, so that you have a very high availability. Okay, there is a very good business continuity or disaster recovery option in cloud. Okay, because of their multiple data centers or availability zone, you can very well prepare for your business continuity or disaster recovery. Yeah, very good point. What else?
Easy deployments, like the application can push and pull the deployments very easily, and easy administration, and the sprint
Very well.
release Azure steps.
That is correct, Naveen. So you can do a quick deployment in the cloud. See, everything that we do in the public cloud platform, it is all virtualized environment. I mean, not everything is virtualized. At least the virtual machines are running on a virtualized platform. They are running it on Microsoft Hyper-V in Azure data center. But in you can also run it on VMware on Azure, if in case you are you want to run it on virtualized, VMware virtualized product. Similarly, other providers like Amazon, they give you option to run it on. They have a customized Zen. They have the Nitro hypervisor, that is their proprietary hypervisor is Nitro, and they also give you option to run it on KVM. You can also run it on VMware. There are many hypervisor options that you get from Amazon, because initially they use the customized Zen as an hypervisor to create the EC2 instance or the virtual machine. Whereas now they have their own hypervisor, which is called Nitro, and there are also other options which you can go and choose to run your virtual machine in Amazon platform. But with Microsoft, you can go to either Microsoft Hyper-V, that is the default option, or you can also choose to run it on VMware, or you can also choose any open source nowadays. Okay, so other providers also, they have their own virtualization platform. The reason I'm talking about virtualization here, the quick deployment feature is because of virtualization. Okay, if you're thinking about creating a server in a physical I mean, if it is a physical server, it takes time to rack it, stack it, install the firmware, installing the operating system, installing the prerequisites before installing the application. It takes a lot of time. But here in the cloud, everything starts bare minimum is a virtual machine. So virtual machine takes very few minutes to get deployed. So that's the reason we say it is quick to deploy a new virtual machine. Even we have container option, even we have serverless. We'll talk about that later. But the bare minimum thing, virtual machine, you can go and quickly deploy. So all these benefits, like easy to deploy or easy to clone, easy to take snapshot, or they call it as checkpoint in Hyper-V. Okay, easy to take checkpoints or snapshot, or easy to it's easy to manage. So all these are because of virtualization platform. So virtualization platform has been a very big boon for cloud. If virtualization was failure, cloud wouldn't have been a successful thing as it is now. Okay, so virtualization played a very important role, because of virtualization, now you can go and easily move the virtual machine to a different location, different region. You can migrate the VM to a different data center. You can move it to a different server. So it is very quick to create, it is very quick to clone, it is very quick to move, migrate. All these benefits come from virtualization. So very good point, Naveen. So what are the
Yeah,
points you have?
we can even do the
Performance
virtual machines without any changing configurations.
Sorry, what is that?
No, we can even do the redeployments of the existing VMs in applications, while doing the migrations and everything
Yeah,
using the
that is
same
true.
OVA, OF. Yeah.
I have a question, Stan.
Yeah, just a second. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Okay.
it also helps to improve the performance of the applications, right? According to now.
Yes, that is right, Uma. So you get a better performance in the cloud because of the high-sized environment that you have. You can go and do a lot of, see, when it comes to the abilities, we can keep listing many of them. See, if we are from engineering background and if we don't know what to write, we'll start writing a lot of things, right? We'll talk about availability, durability, and we'll talk about scalability, and a lot of things. There are numerous number of things that we can add as a thing. That is true, actually. So you have a very good option to expand and get better performance. So based on the business demand, based on your business pattern, you can go and increase and decrease the resource based on the requirement. You can go and scale out, or scalability is very high. I'll explain that shortly. Yeah, that is a very good point, Uma. So what is your question? Someone said you have a question. We can discuss that now.
Yes, it is Achyut.
Yeah, Achyut.
When you talked about business continuity or disaster recovery, right?
Yeah.
In the cloud or any Azure or AWS, do we have active kind of a environment, or is it like on-demand basis? Like when there's a disaster, primary location is down, for example, will there be an active session or a server or a VM available which is continuously syncing the data from primary to secondary? Is
Okay.
that configured by default, or should we do it while we are planning only?
Okay, so see, there are two things to it, right? At the data center level, they give you a lot of availability aspect. So they give you availability zones. They are giving you option to host your services on multiple physical data center in a region. Second thing, they are also giving you option to go and run your applications on multiple different physical rack. So if one physical rack is having some power issue or some internet connection issue or some network issue, it will not impact the other rack. They also give you option to go and do a placement to have better connectivity, better speed and affinity and all those things. Even they have other options where you can go and have your resources on multiple different servers. Okay, this is at the physical data center level. When it comes to the software, okay, it all depends on what kind of operating system you're using. See, for example, if you're using Windows, you have to understand whether your operating system, the Microsoft failover clustering, or if you're using Linux, whether your service guard or whatever the clustering software is supported for your application. This is something that is independent of your physical data center. In cloud, whatever operating system you're choosing, that has to support the question that you have asked, whether it supports active-active or active-passive clustering. It depends on that. Then comes your application. If you're talking about SAP application or some homemade application, you need to identify whether that application is configurable with the clustering options at the OS level and the hardware level. So if you ask from cloud provider standpoint, you will have all the options that you have at your on-premises. There is no limitation in that. So and to answer your question, I think you completed the question by saying we have to plan it properly, right? That is true. You have to plan for high availability. That is the only option. But you get all the options available. You have to plan for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the application level itself.
Whatever, yeah. So I mean, it has to be every level. See, you should not see if you have done application clustering and if you have not done OS clustering, if there is a single point of failure on OS, then that is also a failure for solution, right? It's a solution failure. Similarly, if you don't have multiple hardware, or if you're not running your servers on two different data center, if the data center goes down, then it is a single point of failure. So you have to plan at all the levels, starting from your hardware, software, and OS and everything. It's not just only at the application level. All the different layers has to be carefully examined. Storage, compute, network, your operating system, application, all the different layers has to be having. You have to design for failure. Okay, anything can fail in your IT equipment, right? Your storage can fail, your network can fail, your server can fail, your memory can get corrupted. Okay, your OS can get corrupted, your application can go down. You have to design for failure. You have to think in a way that what if this hardware goes down? What if this network device goes down? So that is designing, right? So we'll discuss that a little later. But for now, yeah, you have to design for failure at all the levels, not just at the application level. That's a good point. See, the point that you have brought up is very good. So there are a lot of good options around disaster recovery and business continuity. Okay, let's get back to track on the basic benefits. See, for others, okay, so if you are just, I mean, if I'm answering some question, that doesn't mean you have to understand all those things. I'm just trying to answer it for that question. Okay, whatever I'm trying to cover here, you have to understand these things. Okay, whatever I'm covering on the right side, it is just to answer the question. You don't have to worry about it. Maybe some of you are just 2 or 3 years in the industry, or some of you are just starting your journey in cloud. So for you, the topic is already complete here. So for cloud, you need to understand the definition. You need to understand the benefit. This is more than sufficient for people who has got less than 5 years of experience. For people who have got more experience, these points are relevant to them. Okay, so yeah, let's continue. Okay, what are the other benefits you feel that you get from cloud? I heard from Mohammed, I heard from Chod, I heard from Naveen, Huma, everyone, right? So let's see who else have any other good point. I think we talked about scalability, right? I'll explain that a little more. Okay, so when you talk about scalability, okay, there are 4 different dimensions to scalability. Okay, so let's see. See, if you have a particular server, okay, that is running some application, for example, a web application or a business application. So if you need more people to access it, or if you need more network capacity or throughput, what you will do, you will go and add more servers and plan it for more number of users accessing it. So this is called as scaling out. Adding more servers to cater the need for the business is called scaling out. And if the demand is becoming lull or if the demand is reducing, you can go and scale in the servers, meaning you can go and decrease the number of servers. Okay, so increasing the number of servers is called scale out. Decreasing the number of servers is called scale in. Okay, servers means virtual machines or instances or whatever you call it. Okay, and if in case you have a category like database servers, or if you have something which are tied to licensing, you cannot add more servers just like how we do for web application or business application, because database servers will have license tied to it and you cannot just add more servers with the license that you have got. So in that case, what you will do, you will go and add more memory or add more CPU or add more storage and so on. See, for example, if you have a laptop and if you are running few application and if you are not happy with that, what you will do? You will go and try and add additional capacity or add additional memory and so on. Even in your mobile devices, if you are not happy with your mobile, you will try and see whether you have an option to increase your storage capacity, or you have option to change something to make it better, like your laptop or desktop, right? So that is called as scale up. So increasing the resources within the server or within the device is called scaling up. Decreasing the resources within the server is called scale down. In cloud, we call it as vertical scaling. Okay, so scale up and scale down, we call it as vertical scaling. Both of them, okay, not just scale down. So the up and down is called vertical scaling. Adding more servers and reducing servers is called horizontal. We are adding horizontal servers here. So this is called horizontal scaling. So in cloud, based on the demand, you can add more servers and reduce servers when you don't need it. That can be automated. You can do an auto scaling for your horizontal scaling, not for vertical scaling. For vertical scaling, adding more memory or adding more CPU, you need downtime. Okay, adding more storage, you can do it, okay, without downtime, but adding more network cards or adding more memory or CPU, you need to take downtime. So vertical scaling needs downtime in most of the cases. There are some technologies like VMware, they provide you hot CPU, hot memory and so on. But in general, vertical scaling, it needs downtime. But horizontal scaling, you can add more servers and reduce the number of servers automatically without giving any downtime. So cloud supports horizontal scaling in automatic way. Auto scaling is supported in cloud. Okay, that is what I was trying to convey here. Auto scaling means you can horizontally add more servers and reduce it when based on the demand of the application or demand of the business. Okay, what are the other points you have?
So how about the vertical scaling, Stan? Like, in case if any VM resources is running out of resources, right? Like, is there any resource pool? It can be expandable up to certain amount memory or CPU or
Yeah.
anything.
So vertical scaling is supported. Okay, vertical scaling is supported, but the thing is, you need to have downtime to do increase of CPU or memory or network interface or whatever these things. But adding storage, you don't need downtime. So storage can be increased without downtime. But for vertical scaling, you need downtime to increase the memory and the CPU because of the way the cloud is designed. See, for example, you have
It's like a
instance
virtual
RAM.
platform. So we need to increase the CPU RAM. It has to be powered down, and maybe with storage we can just add it up. Yeah, I understood. Got it.
Yeah, that is correct, Naveen. But there are some virtualization technology like VMware. It supports hot CPU add and hot memory add and all those things. But if you are using those technologies, then you can do vertical scaling without downtime. That is also one more point that you need to consider. Okay, so if you are talking about a particular technology, you need to understand the underlying hypervisor or underlying technology, whether it really needs the downtime. Okay, so in most of the cases, yes, in Microsoft Azure platform, most of the instances are running on Microsoft Hyper-V, where downtime is needed to add more CPU and memory because of the way the cloud is designed. So there are some different instance type. We'll discuss that on a third day or fourth day. Okay, we don't have to jump too much into the technology now. Okay, so yeah, what are the other benefits? So
Stan,
here
you
it's
will
all
be
for
covering.
you. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah.
Load
So you will be
load
covering
balancing.
this later also, right? On later stage.
Yeah. So see, all these things we'll discuss in detail, but for now we are talking about the basic benefits that all the providers are providing. I'm not talking about Microsoft or Azure here, right? It's general cloud benefit. Every cloud provider has these kind of advantages in that. So what you said, load balancing, right? Yeah, that is true. See, there are a lot of options to go and do a load balancing. There are multiple variety of traffic managers, application load balancers, network load balancers. There are wide variety of global load balancers. You get a lot of different options here in the cloud. That is true. Okay, you get traffic managers, you get DNS based load balancing, a lot of different things. True. What else? Is this enough? Okay, so I think we covered a lot of things. We talked about portability. We can move things
What about the
easily.
security?
Okay, good point, right? So yeah, security is definitely very high in the public cloud data center. The reason I say that, I'm talking about the physical level of security, not the application level or operating system level. That is a shared responsibility. See, if you have created an application or if you have created a server, within that server operating system, only customer will have access to define who can access it and who cannot access it. So it is role-based access control mechanism, right? So within your operating system, if you're not properly configured the authentication or authorization, then it's a customer responsibility to address that. If you're asking me security at the physical data center level, if you're talking about surveillance, if you're talking about the control systems in the data center, if you're talking about the physical security, then it is providers responsibility. Okay, physical security is with the provider's responsibility. When I say provider, it is Microsoft in our case, and if it is OS level or application level, then it is customer's responsibility to properly address the access. If you are having a very weak password or default username and password, you should not complain Microsoft about that, because you have created a server and application with default or very less complex credentials, which has resulted in some kind of attack or hacking. Okay, so security, it is very high in the cloud. Okay, let's talk about one more thing here. Okay, so that you get to understand a little more details. So when you talk about Microsoft Cloud Data Center or Azure, Google Data Center or AWS Data Center, do you know what kind of tier the data center is categorized into? What level of data center it is? Whether it is a tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 or tier 4 data center, what level of data center it is? Any idea?
Sorry, Stan, can you repeat the question? Is tier 3?
No worries, Naveen. I'll answer that. There is a lot of background noise. So see, there are a lot of tiering of data centers that are available, and most of the cloud providers, they provide their services on either tier 3 or tier 3 plus or tier 4. So when I say about tiering of data centers, so see, for example, let's take what exact components we'll have in the data center. We'll have cooling, we'll have network, we'll have power connections, we'll have storage connections, and so on, right? So all these components will have at least 3 levels of redundancy. For example, network, you'll have at least 3 to 4 different internet service providers providing connection. Similarly, if you talk about power, you will have at least 3 to 4 different sources of power, like raw power, nuclear power, solar power, wind power, and so on. If you take India, even Adani source of power is considered as a separate power from government electricity source of power. So you will have multiple source of redundancy for each of your component: power, network, cooling. If you talk about cooling, most of the data center, they will be using the Japanese Kyoto cooling technology, which is a very good technology. Similarly, if you talk about security, the surveillance, or the layers of security, it will have at least 6 levels of defense of depth. Okay, I'll talk about that. Okay, at least it will have 5 to 6 levels. If you talk about Google data center, it might have even more than that. Okay, there are very good physical level of security. So if you want to go and touch a server and change a particular failed disk or a failed component, you'll have to go through at least 6 different approval process. You'll have to get approval from your physical gate security. You'll have to get a person escorted along with you. You'll have to get the escort approved for you, so that escort will join you when you reach the data center. So you'll have to go through the physical multi-factor authentication. You'll have to scan your fingerprint. You'll have to show your ID. Then you have to get into the data center, and there are a lot of processes that you have to follow before you can go and touch the specific failed component or a failed server. It's not like what you see in the movies. Okay, so it's very high secured location. You cannot go and set the touch the systems in the data center without going through all this. So let me take this little differently. Okay, so let's talk about real data center. Okay, in India we have many data centers. For example, there is a ControlX data center, which is a tier 4 rated data center. Okay, this is the largest in Asia. We have a few of them in India location. So if you want to have a look and feel of the data center, you can go and click on this data center tour. Even you can request for visiting their data center. You can go and contact them, and you can go and visit their data center. It is available in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and a few more locations. Okay, so this is all tier 4 data center. They are called hyperscale data center, and with the level of redundancy. Okay, so when I say redundancy, at every level, network, power, cooling, server, storage, and all the different redundancy, they will be able to give us 99.995% of availability. So this is very huge availability, right? This is a very huge SLA uptime. So you get a very high uptime in the cloud. That is very, very big thing. And most of the data centers that Microsoft or Amazon is giving, all of them are rated 3 plus or 4, which means tier 3 means you'll have 3 levels of redundancy. Tier 3 plus means, see, for example, network will have 3, power will have 4 levels of redundancy, and the other components will have 3 levels of redundancy. If you have something 3 and something 4, then that is called 3 plus. And if you have all the components with 4 levels of redundancy, then that data center is called hyperscale data center or rated 4 data center. So this ControlX data center, which are there in multiple India locations, they are all called they are Asia's largest data centers. Actually, you can go and have a data center tour. Okay, you spend some 5-10 minutes looking at this. You'll get a lot of understanding. So someone asked about security, right? Security is at its best. You have at least 6 levels of security defense in depth when it comes to physical data center. Even you can look at one more video, right? So Google data center, 6 layers of security. Okay, so you can watch this few small clipping also when you get some time. Okay, so that will explain how the data center will look like and how you can go and touch a particular server. What are the different processes that are involved, like the fencing, secure perimeter, building access. So without going through all these 6 layers, you cannot go and touch the server. Okay, there is a video also. You can go and watch the video. It will be like 5-10 minutes. It's only 6 minutes, right? You can go and watch this video later. Okay, I'll give these links. Okay, spend a few minutes so that you get to understand how a physical data center will look like and what are the different security process that is involved before you touch the system. Okay, let me just share the ControlX data center link. You can also watch the data center tour so that you, many of you who are born in cloud or who are starting their career in cloud, they might not have visited data center, right? So maybe you have to just see how the data center will look like. I started my career in Southern Railways data center. So my second job was with RailNet. So I had 2 years of time that I spent within the data center. So it's a good thing. Okay. So building a data center, it's not that easy. Okay, I'll explain. Okay, if you have questions, yeah, let's close that and then I'll continue.
Yeah, I had a job offer in control as then my very first
Oh,
job. Like after
very
3 years,
nice, Naveen.
IBM,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I didn't get chance. But I had a offer in control as in Hyderabad, software near the software.
Very nice, very nice. Good to know that. So maybe at the end of the session, you can share few couple of minutes with your experience. Okay, maybe you can walk us through a few important things that people should know. Maybe at the end of the session. Okay, I don't want to pull you right away.
No, no.
Okay, if you want to spend 2-3 minutes, maybe you can also share your experience in working on real data center. Great, great, Naveen. Good to get in touch with you. Yeah. So let's continue here. Okay. So when it comes to security, so maybe then you should not have asked the question. Okay. So there is a lot of physical layer of security that is involved. And
I
see,
not overheard your question, sir. So no, no problem.
that's good. Okay. Okay. So see, when you talk about building a data center, okay. So for example, if you are starting a business or if you are going to start a new startup, and if you have decided to create your own data center, this is the open question, not for Naveen or anyone specific. Okay, so what are the different things you will consider if you want to build your own data center? What are the things you will look at?
Real estate or space?
Sorry, real estate
Space.
cost, right? Yeah, space,
Yeah.
correct.
ISP,
Okay, ISP. Okay, very good.
ISP redundancy stand. At least 2 to
Okay,
3 years.
okay,
Uninterrupted power supply.
okay, very good.
Backup.
Backup options. Okay, very good.
Hardware.
OEM hardware to choose. Which hardware to choose?
Okay, hardware providers options.
Yeah, the places
Licenses.
have this
Infrastructure.
Okay, infrastructure. Okay,
and sometimes the disasterless location we choose, right? At least
very good.
based upon that
Very
location.
good, Naveen. Very good, Naveen. This proves that you are really a hardcore data center guy. See, the very first thing you need to think about is the location. See, have you ever thought about why data centers are not created in Kolkata or Delhi or in the top region? The reason is it is part of the seismic zone. Okay, so seismic zone means there will be a lot of earthquakes, there will be some natural calamities or natural disasters that are prone to those places, right? If your environment is prone to natural disaster, so you will not build your house, right? If you will you go and build a house where there is a lot of natural disaster? No, right? Similarly, when you go and build a data center, so you should not go and build your data center in a seismic zone. So if there is earthquakes frequently happening, the IT equipments are prone to failures. If there is a small earthquake or if there is a high intensive earthquake, then it will impact your IT devices. That is the reason why data centers are built in Chennai, Hyderabad, and the locations where there is not much touch wood, there is not much natural disasters happening, right? So so it is very important to choose a location where it is not prone to natural disasters. And the next important thing is the internet service provider options. See, for example, all the overseas connections will terminate in either Mumbai or Chennai or the specific hub locations, right? So that is another reason why it is good to create a data center in Chennai or Mumbai location, because of the overseas cabling, overseas termination points that we have in the seaside locations. Okay, so that is another important advantage. There are a lot of other things you'll have to look out for: the manpower, where we have technical peoples, where we have a lot of good options available. There are other things which we need to think about before you go and build a data center. It's not like creating just like that, right? Even if you're building a house, you will look at a lot of different things, right? You look at the real estate cost, you will look out the real estate space. You cannot go and build a data center in the middle of the city, right? the middle of the city will be costing you too much. So you cannot go and create a data center or build a data center in the center of city. You have to find a location on the outskirts to get some benefits or less price. And while sparing on the price, you should not also spare on the connection speed and all those things, right? You'll also find out whether you have good power, uninterrupted power there, whether you have got that is the reason why SZCs are some specific what do you call the social economic zones are preferred for data centers, right? Because you get for a very low cost, and you get a lot of uninterrupted power, network connections. So you get a lot of, you will also have to choose a cooling technology also, Kyoto cooling. So this is also one more reason why people are building data centers in a location where you don't need to consume a lot of power for cooling, right? For example, Bangalore and other locations, the temperature can help you maintain the data center with very much less cost for the cooling. So there are some reasons why people choose Ireland and similar locations for building data centers. Okay, there are a lot of things behind. Okay, maybe let's hear from Naveen at the end of the class on his experience with Control X. But so when you go and choose the data center, there is a very high level of security, a lot of different availability aspects that are thought about before we go and do it. 1 second, I'll mute your line, Vivek. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, any other benefit that I missed? Okay, so I think reliability, durability, all these things are good. Okay, you also get dynamic scaling, and with virtualization, you can go and easily take an image. You can go and take easy templates, all those things. Okay, I think we have discussed enough about the cloud benefit. So maybe we'll take a 10 minutes break. Okay, and when we come back, we'll talk about cloud service model and cloud deployment model and so on. Okay, you guys want 10 minutes break or you want 15 minutes break?
Anything
10 minutes,
is
okay? Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we'll resume our session now. Okay, so these are the cloud benefits. See, if you are a beginner or if you are a person with lesser experience, just understand the definition and these 6 points. This is more than enough for you to attend for exam or interviews. Okay, all the other points here, which whatever we have discussed here, these are all for senior people. Even someone started talking about what do you call, someone said reduction of carbon footprint and all those things, right? So those are all good things. Because of virtualization, the data center size has come down, and we are sharing the data centers. We are not building multiple data center. Instead, we are going and using the data center that is already there. So multiple customers are sharing the data center. So there is a very less carbon footprint because of the sharing concept. See, lot of things you can compare with your real life analogy, right? For example, if you want to go from one place to another place, if you want to commute or if you want to travel, there are multiple options now, right? Earlier, you need to have your own car, or you have to drive your own car, or you have to hire a car and do it. Now you have options to take Ola service or a Uber service, or you can go and hire a car, right? So there are many options now you have. So renting a car, hiring a car, or getting a Uber service, those are all like similar to your cloud service model. Okay, similarly, if you want to listen to music, so earlier you need to buy a cassette, or you need to buy a CD or DVD. Nowadays you have everything online. You can go and get a subscription, or you can go and listen to the music in Spotify or many other options. Okay, and if you want to watch a movie, long back you have to go and wait in the queue in the theaters and go and get the tickets, and then you have to watch the movie. Now you have option to go and book it online, or you can also have your own home theater at your home. There are many options. There are many analogy that you can compare with cloud. So cloud models are very easy to understand. I'll explain those now. See, if you continue to discuss around cloud benefit, the entire session you'll be discussing around the benefit. Okay, so let's stop it here. Okay, we'll move on to the cloud service model. Okay, we have planned to complete a few concepts here, right? So let's talk about service model. So when it comes to service model, my audio is clear, right?
Yeah, it's clear, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Okay. So who manages what? Okay, so it is the service. Let me mute that line. I just tried muting his line and I muted myself. Okay, sorry. So who manages what? Okay, the service model, it talks about the different options we have. So I think many of you might have heard about this. I think many of you have started learning self, or you might have attended some of the sessions where they might have talked about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, the SaaS, software as a service, PaaS, and all those things, right? So these are all the three higher level models. So there are many other sub options like database as a service, storage as a service. There are many other things, but at a very higher level, we can subdivide it into three different offering or three different service model. So based on who manages what. So based on the service options, you have these three different options. Okay, so there are two parties involved here. One is the service provider. So service provider example is Microsoft is providing their services using Azure. Amazon is providing their services using Amazon Web Services. Google is giving their services using Google Cloud Platform, and so on. Similarly, we have the service consumer is your end user, that is us. Okay, so we are going and consuming the services from the providers. So there are two parties involved. So we have, I mean, there are certain cases we have to manage our application, operating system, and so on. Similarly, the provider will manage certain things. Okay, let's look into that. So I have a slide which talks about that here. Just a second. Okay, this is what I was telling about, right? So if we talk about cloud benefits, there are many abilities. So while I used to write my engineering exams, I used to go and put all these headings and then start writing on my own. Okay, so efficiency, composability, maintainability, security, auditability. So there are many other areas that can be listed as a cloud benefit. Okay, so here when it comes to cloud service model, there are three different models. Okay, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So infrastructure as a service, that means the infrastructure, the underlying physical infrastructure, the networking, storage, the server, the virtualization component, all these are managed by the provider. The provider is managing it and they are servicing if in case there is a problem with the storage disk, or if there is a problem with the network gear, or there is a problem with server hardware, the provider, the managed services provider, they will go and fix that. We don't have to worry about it. So the infrastructure is provided as a service for us. So the provider, the vendor will manage the infrastructure in this case. So that is why we call it as infrastructure as a service. So the provider is managing the infrastructure here. So as a customer, we need to take care of the operating system. When I say operating system, we need to deploy the operating system that we need, and we need to patch it, we need to monitor it, we need to upgrade it. So we need to take care of the OS fine tuning and all those things. And we are the one who are responsible for installing all the prerequisite, the container, so whatever the Java runtime or whatever .NET framework, whatever is needed for your application, you need to go and deploy the prerequisite, and you need to manage the application and its data. Okay, as a customer, we are managing these things. So in this option, the infrastructure is managed by provider. That's why it is called infrastructure as a service. Okay, for managing the infrastructure, okay, so we just actually have to pay shared cost. We are not paying everything here. And as an organization, as a customer, we are responsible for managing these things. In our organization, what kind of resources we need to have? Okay, we need to have system administrators, we need to have developers, we need to have people with skills around system administration and development. Okay, so system administrators are more prominent in infrastructure as a service. As a customer, we need to have people with system administration skills or operation skills. Whereas in platform as a service, infrastructure plus the platform that is needed to run your application. When I say the platform, I'm referring to the runtime environment. If you are running Java application, you need to have the Java runtime. If you are running .NET application, you need to have the .NET runtime or the framework. So those platform, the operating system, the middleware, the runtime will also be managed by the vendor. The vendor in our example is Microsoft. So Microsoft will manage the infrastructure and the platform for your application. So only the application development, only the related data for your application, you need to manage as a customer. So in this case, for developing application and maintaining the application, you only need programmers or developers. Okay, in our organization, in our customer environment, we'll have more developers and programmers. When it comes to software as a service, everything including the application is owned and maintained by the provider. For example, you are using Google Drive, Google Mail, you are using Office 365. So you are not maintaining any of the components. You don't own the server, you don't own the storage, you don't even install what kind of operating system is running behind, what kind of application platform they are hosting this particular application. You don't know anything about it, but you are consuming it based on the number of licenses or number of users. You are going and subscribing for it and you are consuming it. That is called software as a service. Okay, so there are three different service model based on who manages what. If the infrastructure is managed by provider, then it is called infrastructure as a service. If the infrastructure and the platform is managed by the provider, then it is called platform as a service. If the entire technology stack, including the software, is managed by the provider, then it is called software as a service. Okay, some examples here. So your Office 365, Google Suite, Salesforce, the Intune, these options are called software as a service. The Hotmail, Yahoo, Dropbox, OneDrive, all these stuff. And the examples for platform as a service, the relational database service, Google Apps Engine, AWS, Elastic Beanstalk, OpenShift, Cloud Foundry, Heroku, these are all examples of platform as a service. Infrastructure as a service, Azure Virtual Machine, Amazon EC2 instances, the service, all these things are examples, the load balancers, all these are example of infrastructure as a service. Okay, so if you are comparing it with analogy of a car, if you have if you are taking a leased car or if you're taking a private car for your own, then that is called infrastructure as a service kind of thing. If you are hiring a taxi, then it is like a pass offering. If you are going in a bus, then it is like a software as a service. You don't have to own anything. If there is a maintenance or if there is something toll or whatever, you don't have to pay anything. It's like a software as a service. So bus versus taxi versus leased car plus versus your own car. Your own car is compared with on-premises solution. Okay, so don't get too much into this analogy, but you can also think about it, compare it, and then understand it a little better. But when the infrastructure is managed by the provider, infrastructure as a service. When infrastructure plus platform is managed by the provider, it is called PaaS, platform as a service. If the infrastructure, platform, and the software is managed by the provider, then it is called software as a service. Simple. Okay, let's come back here into the sheet here. Okay, you guys are able to follow me. So as a provider, will manage the infrastructure. That's why it is called infrastructure as a service. Anything, any servicing, for example, a storage issue or a server issue or network issue, everything will be serviced by the provider. That's why it is called infrastructure as a service. In PaaS, provider will manage infra, the platform, including the OS, they will be managing it. Here in software as a service, the provider will manage the infra, OS, platform, and the software application. So as a customer, we just need to create account and we need to take care of only the authentication. We need to have credential to log in and maintain our data backup or whatever. Here, as a customer, we will manage the OS, the data, the application, and all those things. Here as a customer, we just manage only application and its related data. Okay, here we just manage only the account creation and account management, nothing beyond that. Okay, let me check. There is some question on the chat. Okay, even if you are hesitant to ask the question verbally, you can just type it on the chat. Okay, yeah, Peter issue. Okay, Venkatesh is dropping off for attending a P1. That's fine. Oh, please increase the size. Sorry, Ashok, I missed to do that earlier. Okay. Okay, sure. So service model is based on who manages what. Okay, so simple. So in infrastructure as a service model, so we will have a lot of. Please bring me the event to register to Microsoft. Okay, sure. So I'll ping it again. Okay, you should have it. Haji Muhammad, right? So you have the link to register for the session. But if you are in Middle East, maybe the time zone, you have to look at the time zone. It will be, I think it will be okay for you. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so for infrastructure as a service, yeah, so we need to have systems administrator, or in cloud, we call them operations team or operations engineer. Okay, in platform as a service, we need to have programmers or developers, because we need to only manage the application development and the data. In software as a service, we are just a mere end user. Okay, we don't have to worry about any specific development or management of hardware, or maintaining OS, patching OS, monitoring OS, nothing we have to worry about. Okay, we just need to focus on application in the platform as a service. Here we just need to focus on our credentials. Here we need to take care of monitoring the OS, patching the OS, upgrading the OS, maintaining the OS, all those things, OS related maintenance, application related maintenance, we need to take care of. Okay, so in general, cloud is like renting instead of buying. Okay, that is the base concept behind cloud. Okay, we are renting things. See, if you don't need something tomorrow, you can say I don't need. You can decommission it. You don't have to pay for it. Okay, you are renting instead of buying. Okay, so if you are buying it, you own it actually. You have to diminish the cost over the period of time. Okay, so here in the cloud, it's all about renting. There is nothing you need to buy, or you don't have to do any kind of upfront investment, or upfront purchase is not needed. Okay, you guys are clear with the service model? Any questions from anyone on this slide? Any questions? Okay, clear. Okay, so let me move on to the deployment model. Okay, deployment model is based on the location. Okay, so sheet by sheet I have to increase the font. Okay, based on the location, we'll have this deployment model. So if you want to have your own cloud kind of setup, or if you want to experience the cloud in your own data center, that is called as private cloud. So in your on premises, you can purchase the cloud products and you can deploy it in your own data center. I'll explain it in a little more details. You can also have the public cloud, which is open for general public, and anyone can go and create an account, and with all credibility and authentication, you need to go and create an account and you can start consuming the resources in the public cloud. And you have something called hybrid cloud, which is mix of private and public to some extent, Naveen. Okay, so I can share the slide deck, but not all of them, but in Excel notes for sure you'll get the complete Excel sheets. Okay, yeah. So you have three different cloud models, or based on the deployment model, you have three major options. You also have something called community cloud. This is for specific community. Okay, like government, or some healthcare, or some specific industry. You have a community cloud. I'll explain that. Okay, no worries. Okay, so let's see one by one. So public cloud, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, you need to create the resources over the internet, and you have to access the services using the wide area network, And if you want to securely access it, definitely there are VPN solutions through which you can go and securely access the public cloud environment, and you can access it. So this particular public cloud, it is open for every general public. It is open for me, Naveen, Aruma, or anyone can go and create resources in the public cloud platform. Example for public cloud platform is Microsoft Azure, AWS, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform. So all these are examples of public cloud platform on which you can go and create compute resources, or you can purchase storage, or you can run applications, and you can pay for whatever you have consumed. Okay, but private cloud is a entity where some organization like financial industry or some healthcare industry, based on their regulatory requirement or legal industry compliance requirement, they might not be able to run some services on public cloud. So for such cases, you can have your own data center with cloud kind of facilities. Okay, this is dedicated to a company or an organization because of some legal or security requirement. Okay, so how do we have a private cloud environment? I'll explain that. See, for example, let's take one sample here. Let me snip up a particular stuff from here. So for example, in a data center, let's assume that I've got these different things in my data center. Okay, so I cannot just go and call this particular data center as private cloud suddenly, right? No one will accept it. So if I'm saying today this is what I have in my data center, tomorrow if I call the same data center as public private cloud, no one will agree to the private cloud. So there should be some kind of characteristics, or there should be some differentiating factor that will differentiate your regular on-premises data center versus private cloud, right? In simple, okay, you will need to have at least these 9 to 10 characteristics through which you can call it as a private cloud environment. If it is a cloud, you need to have a self-service portal. Anyone can go and log in, anyone can do a single sign-on using their account, and they can go and ask for resources like I need this many virtual machines, I need this much amount of storage capacity, I need whatever application or whatever they need, right? They need to have a self-service portal. Either you are a developer, or you are an administrator, or you are a CEO, or whoever you are a financial person. Okay, so for all of them, you should have a single self-service portal. So you cannot have one portal for developers. See, that's how it used to be before in Windows Azure. Okay, when Microsoft initially released the product, they used to call it as Windows Azure. Okay, and it was a failure because of couple of reasons, because it was branded to be Windows, and it only allowed Microsoft Windows operating system and Windows native products. Initially, when Microsoft released Windows Azure in 2010, they released it as Windows Azure, and it was only supporting Windows and those related applications. Okay, until 2014, this was the strategy that they had. They did not allow a lot of open source product, or they did not allow a lot of Linux hosting options. But after Satya Nadella took over the Azure portfolio, the cloud platform, the public cloud platform under him, he rebranded the Microsoft Azure to Microsoft Azure. Okay, so he removed the name Windows because it is more aligned to the Windows operating system. He rebranded it to Microsoft Azure, and he started allowing all open source product and all different Linux flavors of operating systems and so on. And it was not agnostic to anything. So the strategy got changed in 2014. That is after which that is when a lot of customers started adopting Microsoft Azure public cloud. The first 4 years they did not get a lot of traction from the customer because of the reason it did not allow a lot of flexibility towards cloud native. So when you say cloud native, it should accept all the different choice of customers product, right? If they are choosing to run something on Kubernetes, or if they want to monitor using Prometheus open source, the provider should accept or allow it actually. But initially, the first 4 years, they did not allow it. So initially it was kind of a failure, but then after 2014, Microsoft picked up like anything. Now they are one of the top leaders in the cloud market, right? So we should have one single, okay, the other point that I want to highlight here, initially they also had one more drawback. They used to have portal like develop.azure.com for developers, okay, and if you are an administrator, they used to have like manage.azure.com, and for billing they used to have different portal. So they did not have single sign-on portal. Instead they had multiple different self-service portal. For developers they will log into one portal, for administering they will log into one portal, and they used to have multiple portal. So we should have single sign-on and a single portal, okay, unified logon page. Okay, so that is one important characteristics that cloud should possess. Initially, Microsoft had that challenge, but they now they combined everything to one particular portal link. Now, if you want to log into Microsoft Azure portal, you just have to log into console, management console, the portal.azure.com. It will take you to, everyone, administrator or financial team or developers, everyone will log into portal.azure.com. Yeah, that is right, Naveen. Yeah. So next thing is, okay, single self-service portal, unified login page. And next we have this orchestration. And it is very much tied to automation also. When you talk about orchestration, it is very much tied to automation. I'll explain this. Okay, no worries. Let me explain what is this. See, in general, any IT work that you do, it has got a set of workflow. See, for example, let's say go and create a VM or go and create a server. So what you will do, you will go and purchase a server. You will go and rack that server. You will go and connect that server in the network. Okay, you will go and install the firmware, and you will go and configure the BIOS or whatever, right? You will go and configure the ILO, or you will go and install the OS prerequisite, okay, and so on. Okay, so there is a set of workflow. Okay, so this is what you need to do to complete a particular work. We call it as workflow. So this workflow is nothing but what we do in terms of orchestrating. So when you want to do some automation, or when you want to do some work automatically, you need to list down the activities. Okay, yeah, even if you're creating a virtual machine, you need to go and choose the OS, you need to choose the network, you need to select the licensing model and all those things, and you need to complete the installation or deployment. Okay, so there are a lot of examples you can take, but what I'm trying to say is it is a set of instructions, or it is a set of work that we need to complete. Tasks is what we call it as workflow. Okay, so in orchestration tool, we'll go and list down the task. Okay, in orchestration tool, what we will do, we'll go and list down the tasks on how we can create a VM, or how we can create a database, or how we can deploy an application. All those things will be listed as a workflow. That workflow will be triggered using the automation tool. Okay, see, for example, if someone is logging into the portal and if they are asking create a VM on the back end, where for creating a VM there is a set of workflows that is already predefined. Okay, and the automation tool will go and trigger the orchestration workflow in order to complete the task that you have requested. If you want to deploy a database, or if you want to create a virtual machine or whatever, the set of workflow, the set of tasks, activities are already predefined on the back end. Where it is defined, it is defined within your orchestration tool. And how the work gets triggered using the automation tool. So if you want to create a server automatically based on the load, the automation and orchestration will work hand in hand most of the cases. Okay, so automation is to trigger, or to automatically provision, or automatically schedule that task, and so on. Okay, so automation and orchestration is a very, very important key element when it comes to cloud characteristics. Okay, so I think, let me ask you guys also. So what is the difference between monitoring and metering? Have you guys heard about it, or what is the difference from your view? Does it look similar?
No, monitoring is nothing but you are just
Metering,
checking the availability, and
Mm-hmm.
metering may be like kind of checking your utilization from the perspective of resources like CPU, memory,
Very
and
good.
this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, okay, okay, yeah, that way. Okay, got it. So that is true. Okay, so Uma, you can also give it a try. What you tried saying?
Metering is generally used by the customers, end users, to understand how much they have utilized the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Monitoring is basically to monitor the different aspects of infrastructure or platform or software in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how this is performing, like there is a hardware usage or CPU usage, memory usage, and any alert this at users to ensure that we take required action if there is any need. That is how we have used it.
Exactly, that is true. See, metering is looking at your consumption. Okay, see, for example, how many CPUs you have, how many servers you have got, or we are talking about the quantitative analysis, the quantity here. Okay, based on the consumption, based on the quantity of usage, you'll have to pay for what you have consumed. Okay, so this is for maybe chargeback. Okay, let's I generally take this example. So if you take a particular university, or if you're taking a particular company, it will have different departments or different departments within the university, right? Similarly, an office location or a particular company will have some different business units within their company or organization. So if we go and ask them to pay the equal amount of charges, will the business unit agree? They will not, right? So even the department, for example, if you take a university or college, if you go and say this is computer science department, you are a mechanical department, this is IT related expense, and you as a computer science department or an IT department, you pay $100 each, whereas the mechanical, production and civil, you guys can pay $50 each or 50 rupees each. So will they accept that blindly? No, right? So we need to give them what they have consumed, what they have utilized. Okay, for example, the mechanical department might have purchased a very high performing system because of their nature of application. It might need heavy graphics and a lot of hardware, separate GPU and all those things. Similarly, civil application might need different AutoCAD or whatever, right? So maybe the computer science department, they will just work on C++ or Java or some basic programming, for which you don't need a lot of resources. So only if you go and show them that you have consumed this much amount of hardware, this much amount of CPU, this much amount of graphics card and all those operating system licenses and all those things, then they will agree for paying whatever they are consuming it. Otherwise, they are not going to agree it. For example, you see, if you are living in a flat community, if the house owner, or if the particular flat community, owner is saying that everyone should pay 1,000 rupees each, you will not accept for it, right? You should have a way to meter it. You need to have a meter at each of your homes to see how much consumption you are making month on month, and based on that you are paying for it. So metering is mainly to do a chargeback. Okay, so this is just for measuring the consumption. Whereas monitoring, as Sauma and Naveen explained, it's about monitoring the performance, monitoring the uptime of your application or infrastructure or application, looking at the utilization, CPU, memory, network. If there is a high utilization, do an alert or notification. That is exactly right. Okay, so hardware failure, software failure, OS corruption, all these things. Yes. So why we are doing it? So if we are monitoring it properly, we can also go and do an auto remediation or auto heal, or if the service is stopped, you can go and try using a tool, automation tool, to go and restart the service automatically. If there is an alert, you can do an auto remediation or self heal or auto heal. That option is available in cloud. Okay, and other than this, you also need to have tools for having integration with third party. For example, your organization might be using some existing tools like Remedy or ServiceNow, or different tools for monitoring, service management, and different activities. If your cloud product doesn't support integration. API stands for application programming in interface or integration option, where you can go and integrate two different tool sets. If your cloud product is not supporting integration to existing product or software, then you will not go and purchase the software, right? Similarly, yeah, I see some chats here, to avoid unplanned outages. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. So the next point here is, so what are the other parameters you feel we should have in cloud when it comes to cloud characteristics? Any other key element that we are missing? I'll give you guys a chance to answer it.
Disaster recovery.
Okay, DR options. Okay, yeah. And already, like when we are discussing about the tenancy in cloud, we talked about multi-tenancy. It should support multiple departments or multiple business units or multiple customers. By default, cloud should support multi-tenancy option. Okay, that is another beautiful feature that all the cloud providers should support. Okay, and yeah, whatever the other options like disaster recovery, business continuity, analytics, right sizing. So all these are good things to have. Okay, so DR option, business continuity options, what you call the right sizing suggestions. So all these things will be available in many of the cloud provider solution. So how we can implement all these things, how we can get a self-service portal with automation, metering, monitoring options. So this is where we go and purchase tools like what you call OpenShift, or what do you call this Azure Stack, not OpenShift. OpenShift is a Kubernetes thing. OpenStack, Azure Stack. So many of them have got this stack name, right? So Cloud Stack, because it has got multiple stacks of services. That's why they have named it as OpenStack, Azure Stack, and so on. So Soft Layer from IBM. So these are all product which you can go and purchase to have a private cloud setup in your environment. If you're going and purchasing this product and implementing it in your own data center, then your data center can be classified as a private cloud. Okay, if you have all these characteristics enabled in your data center, if all of them are working as per the plan, then you can call this data center as a private cloud environment. Okay, so that's how it becomes a private cloud. So there is one more thing that you need to understand when it comes to private cloud. Okay, there are two categories of private cloud that are available. So one is called managed private cloud, and the other one is called hosted private cloud, or they call it as virtual private cloud. Okay, so VPC. Okay, this is not the AWS network VPC. Okay, I'll talk about it. This is a little different. Okay, I'll explain the difference between these two. Okay, just a second. Yeah. So for an example, let's take IBM as a company. They've got many data centers across the globe, right? And for an example, if you take a big data center in Germany or US, so they have got a lot of space that can be rented for customers, and they can get money out of it, right? So in that case, so IBM as a company, they will have their data center space, okay, shared between their customers. So what they will do is they will host different customers in their private cloud environment. So they will go and assign 10 racks to customer A, and then a few racks to customer B.
Stan, there we cannot hear anything. Not sure.
I think
I
we'll
think
have
we
to
got
The same here. You're not able to hear. JB.
Sorry guys, yeah, there was a power outage here, and because of which I lost my network connection. So I have my mobile data turned on now. Sorry about that. So somehow I managed to have some DR option. Okay, so hope my audio is back for you guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what I was explaining, there are two type of private cloud models. Within the private cloud, you have hosted private cloud and managed private cloud. Hosted private cloud, what the provider will do is they will create separate set of racks and compartment for a particular customer. So customer A will ask for a set of servers, and then customer B will have a set of servers, and customer C will have a set of servers. For example, Mercedes or Nestle or any other customer, right? So they will go and ask for X amount of servers or X amount of rack, and they will host their systems there. So this model is called hosted private cloud, where the customers will pay for what they are actually consuming or what they are actually utilizing from IBM data center. But the capacity expansion, adding more capacity in terms of server, storage, rack, expanding, all those things will be done by, the investment will be done by IBM. So IBM will take care of hosting the customers. This model is called hosted private cloud. And in another example, for example, let's take Mercedes or Nestle or any customer. So they have their own data center. Okay, so in this data center, they have their own private cloud. Okay, and this company is not into IT, right? They are into different industry vertical. So they are into a different food or FMG kind of thing. But here in this case, okay, so what they will ask is they will go for any service provider like IBM or HP or HCL or whatever it is. They will ask that IT provider to come and manage their private cloud environment. So the private cloud environment will be managed by third party, example IBM or TCS, or they will manage the cloud infrastructure or cloud environment. But the investment of expanding their storage or expanding the compute capacity or adding more network connections and all those things, the investment will come from Nestle, whereas the IT management will be managed by third party. So this option is called managed private cloud. If the IT environment or if the private cloud environment is managed by third party, then it is called managed private cloud. If on the other side, if a provider is providing the service and you are hosting your services there, then it is called hosted private cloud. There are two type of private cloud deployments that are options available. So in hosted private cloud, we'll have different customers have virtually separated compartments. So customer A will have set of rack and servers, customer B will have set of servers and racks, customer C, D, and everyone will have their own virtual compartment space within the data center to run their services. Okay, we can call this as virtual private cloud or hosted private cloud. This one, if the IT services are managed and maintained by third party, then that is called managed private cloud because of third party management. So the third party can be here, it can be HP or IBM or TCS or any provider for this matter. Okay, any IT service provider will manage it. Okay, you guys are clear with the cloud deployment model? Private cloud, public cloud. Yeah, community cloud. Good. Okay, next is the cloud characteristics. So we already listed down the characteristics. Let's see how many of you are able to recall it. We talked about 10 points as cloud characteristics just now. Okay, can we try to recall those points? Single sign-on portal. I'll just start with. I'll give it a trigger. Okay, self-service portal.
Orchestrator.
Yeah,
Yeah,
orchestrator.
orchestration.
Very good.
Automation.
Automation. Metering.
Multi-tenancy.
Multi-tenancy. Very good.
Monitoring.
Very good. Monitoring.
Monitoring and automation.
Yeah, auto remediation or self-healing, all those things, right? Yeah, very good.
API.
Very good. API integration. What is the last one? Analytics, right sizing, and all those additional value-added businesses, right? So cloud cost can increase. So all those things, analytics, right sizing, and disaster recovery, business continuity, those things, availability aspects. Okay, fine. So these are the characteristics of cloud. Okay, I'll increase the font size. Okay, so let me try to do it. Okay, so let's take an example. I think many of you might have worked with different product. Okay, so and some of you are not maybe not yet clear with this thing, right? For example, let's take VMware is a monopoly in private cloud platform, right? They have got a lot of products, lot of different offering. Okay, if you just go and purchase VMware vRealize suite, what you will get? You will get this bundle of product. You will get VRO, vRealize Orchestrator, you'll get vRealize Automation, you'll get different tool sets, part of your vRealize set. So VMware Private Cloud, you'll get all these benefit. That is what you are getting. Okay, even if you go and set up your OpenStack, if you go and deploy your OpenStack or the set of suite of products, you'll get the same features enabled in your own data center. So if you're purchasing Azure Stack, or even if you're going and purchasing AWS Outpost, these are all examples of private cloud product from different vendors. Okay, Amazon, Microsoft is providing Azure Stack. Okay, and if you have open source, you have OpenStack, which is open source product. I'm not hearing you. If you're asking question, maybe you can use the chat. Maybe.
So maybe Stan, I can give you a few tool names like
Yeah.
Because we have exactly managed private cloud what we are currently working on HPE. So for the automation, VRA, and for metering, right, New Relic, and for the chargeback, I'm not sure what tool we use, but multi-tenancy, VMware, and monitoring, we have many monitoring tools like SolarWinds, SolarWinds, and Nagios.
Okay.
And OneView for the HardsCom, OEM.
Sure. Right.
Yeah,
those are all good examples. See, if you're going for some products like AWS Outpost or IBM Soft Layer or OpenStack, all these things will be provided part of your bundle. Okay, so you'll get a heat dashboard, you'll get a monitoring tool, you'll get a metering tool. All these plugins or component will be part of your tool set. Yeah, exactly right. So Dynatrace, there are a lot of products. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, even API integration is like ServiceNow.
Yeah.
ServiceNow will come as an integration, right? Because all this tool integrated with the ServiceNow.
Correct. Yeah, integration with ITSM tools like ServiceNow, Remedy, or monitoring tools like SCOM, MECM, and all those things. Yeah, there are many tools. Okay, there are hundreds of tools that are available in cloud native. I'll maybe let me show for people who has not seen all these things. So if you talk about cloud native services, okay, so if you go to this CNCF Cloud Native Computing Foundation landscape, there are at least 200 tools that are available in each section. So if you look at here for continuous monitoring, API gateway, for monitoring, metering, there are hundreds and hundreds of tools that are available in the market. Okay, let me mute the line. There is a lot of background noise. So yeah, so there are many tools that are there. Okay, so we cannot keep listing them. So if you look at the CNCF, the cloud native offering related services, there are hundreds of tools that are there. So we can, I mean, we need not learn all of them, but over the period, we might have to learn some of the tools. For example, we might learn Kubernetes, we might learn Helm, or we might learn some products that are listed here. Okay, over the period, based on the customers that we are supporting, we can just go and learn them. Okay, let's see. Let me minimize the screens here. Okay. There are many products. Okay, so if you start listing them, it will take a lot of time. Okay, so far we have discussed about cloud benefit, cloud service model, cloud deployment model, cloud characteristics, and now it's time for discussing cloud demerits or disadvantages. Let's see what kind of demerit or disadvantage we have in cloud. Let's see. I'll hear from you all. Maybe I just want to see what kind of view you have towards the cloud, and then yeah.
We spoke about the security,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if security
Okay.
we still have any glitch with the
Sure,
cloud
Uma.
model.
Yeah, that is true. See, when it comes to cloud, the data privacy is getting little different. When I say privacy, see, if I have some information with me, or if I have some data with me, if it is just with me, that information is kind of secure. Okay. And if I'm sharing that information with Uma or Naveen or whoever, that information is now prone to getting cascaded or getting leaked a little more easier, because like you also know the information and few more people will get to know the information, because we have a kind of habit of sharing that information to people, right? Similarly, if you are talking about data, if you are storing it in your own hard disk or if your own data center, it is kind of secure. But if you are going and putting that data in someone else data center, Microsoft data center or Amazon data center or someone else data center, there are some minimal chances of data leakage or information leakage. That is a kind of data privacy issue. It is not a data security issue, it is a data privacy issue. But see, all these major providers like Microsoft or Apple or Google or all these companies have got a very good policy. Even their US legal policy requirements that state that they should not take, or they should not have access to the customer data. They should never touch customer data, even if it is government or someone is forcing them. They should not go and touch it. Their terms and conditions are very good, are very matured in such a way that the information leakage is very less. But if you talk about different countries, like the country where we live in, the government have option to go and force a particular company and get the data. Okay, but the companies like Microsoft or Amazon or Google, they have a very good security policy or privacy policy, which does not allow them to go and touch customer data. So data privacy is kind of okay, but there are chances of information leakage, I would say, because we are exposing our data into someone else's data center. If you are not properly configuring the authentication and permission, and if you are exposing the data, then there is a chance of data leakage. There is a kind of small insecurity that will come. But yeah, I agree to it, but we should not call it as a security issue. Okay, security issue is completely different. Okay, what else? Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point, Uma. Yeah.
the other thing is you're prone to the viruses like Log4j attack and all, right? So that
Okay, vulnerabilities, right? So see, vulnerabilities, if you think about that, whatever the Log4j event which happened the end of last year, but see, those are all vulnerabilities that happens at most of the application stack, or most of our, it's not from the physical level. Maybe, yeah, even some physical software, like ILO or some of the devices software, it also had that impact. Um, See, wherever you have that, even if in your on-premises also you had that Log4j issue, right? It is not only on the public cloud platform. But yeah, maybe I'll delete this. Okay, so yeah, it's a good point. Okay, so I'll see the chat. Maybe, I mean, feel free to use the chat window. Okay, if you want to share something. Okay, probability. Okay, slightly confused with IBM example. Does it mean they rent bulk from? Okay, I'll explain that, Emmanuel, within after this demerit. I'll go back to that slide again. Okay, so the other points I will say, you might get into vendor lock-in. Okay, so since we are studying Microsoft Azure, I'll not talk high about this particular point against Microsoft. Let's take Amazon as an example. Okay, so for now, maybe as on date, you'll be running your application on Red Hat Linux, just for an example. Okay, and you are running your application backend database on maybe Oracle or whatever. Okay, and you are having some other application stack for your application. Okay, when you migrate to Amazon, initially when you are doing a rehosting or when you are just lifting and shifting, you will just do as is. Okay, you will just go with the same OS, same database, same application stack. But over the period, Amazon will tell you that, see, Red Hat subscription is costly, Red Hat maintenance is very high, and if you migrate it to Amazon Linux, you will get a lot of cost benefit. The cost is 10 times cheaper, or 5 times you will get performance benefit, scalability option, and all those things. Then you will think, okay, well, let's go to Amazon Linux. Similarly, they will say, if you go to Amazon ECS, you'll get a lot of cost benefits. If it is a containerized workload, you can save a lot of cost because it is a containerized workload and so on, and you will migrate to Elastic Container Service, which is a service from Amazon. Similarly, you will migrate to AWS RDS, or you will migrate to AWS Elastic Beanstalk and their own native services. So this is what we call it as vendor lock-in. You are going and getting locked into a particular provider's product or service, and if you want to come out of that, without their dependency, you cannot come out. Or if you want to go back to your own data center, if you want to migrate back, without their control or without their what do you call, without their involvement, you cannot do it. So this is what we call it as vendor lock-in. Over the period, all our technology, all our stack will be converted or transformed to cloud native providers options, and which will end up with a lot of challenges at the later end. But it's not a big thing, but I'm just explaining it. And in the cloud, you have to have a lot of dependency, or you have to be thinking more about the compatibility. See, if you're having your own data center, if you're having your own server, storage, and all those things, you can still run your application on Windows XP or Windows Vista or whatever. Even you can run your server operating system in Windows 2003 or 2008. But when it comes to cloud, they don't allow you to do running a lot of traditional or legacy things. You'll get option to go and run either in the latest operating system or up to 2 levels down. For example, if you take OS Windows, they will allow you to run Windows 2022 or 2019 or 2016, something like that. But beyond that, they might not allow you. Similarly, if you take the application stack, you can either have the latest application version or N-1 or N-2, 1 or 2 versions, which is not the latest. Okay, so you can have I mean, there is a lot of compatibility issues that might come. So you have to keep on upgrading your application, or you have to keep on upgrading your operating system to meet up with the vendor or provider's demand. Okay, so you have to keep on investing money on re-platforming it, or you have to keep on investing money on developing to the latest. You'll have all the latest features, benefits, and all those things. On the other side, you'll have to take care of the compatibility challenges. Okay, so next thing is, we are not at all aware of the data center location physically, where they will say Chennai, they will say Mumbai, but we don't know where exactly in Chennai they have those content, whether they can create a clone of that hardware, or whether they can create a clone of that storage. We never know. So data center location is unknown to the customer itself. Okay, so we know that I mean, maybe based on the relationship, we get to know it. For example, like Naveen used to work in controllers. Some of my friends used to work in SIFI. They used to say Microsoft has a tie-up with SIFI, so the co-location data center is hosted in Ambattur location. So that way we get to know that okay, this is where the services are hosted. But otherwise, it is not exposed, or it is not known to anyone. Okay, so next thing is, the cost might increase over the period without your knowledge. See, for example, I'll give a good example when it comes to, see, you people are all concerned about security, right? So suddenly one day there is a big blog, or if there is an article that says two customers have been heavily impacted with malware, or they have been impacted with spyware, and their data got leaked or information got leaked, what you will go and do, you will go and look out for options how you can safeguard your application or your system, because like that has resulted in revenue leakage for a customer, and again not just revenue leakage, right, even their name has got damaged in the market. So what you will generally do, you'll go and find out option to secure your setup or infrastructure or application from not getting impacted with those malware or with those spyware or with those viruses, right? You will go and enable DDoS shield, or you will go and enable advanced protection or whatever. Okay, so this is just a button click. Okay, you can just go and enable that button, and because of that enabling that button, you'll have to pay additional $1,000 month on month. Okay, by doing such things, your cost can increase without much deep dive discussion. So you have to discuss with the customer business owner to understand whether they are really concerned about that issue and whether they really need that feature to be turned on. So it's not the support provider's decision. The decision has to be made by the business owner. They have to decide whether they are happy to spend additional $1,000 to protect their application from those things. See, if someone is releasing a antivirus tool, how they will get business, or if someone is releasing some product like Shield or Security Center or whatever, like let's take Microsoft or Amazon or any company, if they are releasing these products, only if the virus spreads or only if there is security vulnerabilities and all those things, these products will be sold or these products will make sense. Okay, so indirectly what I'm trying to say is there are chances that many big providers are themselves investing money on spreading the vulnerabilities or spreading the viruses and malware or ransomware or whatever. Okay, and because of which they can get more revenue or get more money from that side of the business. I'm just speculating things, don't take too much into it. But here in the cloud, what I'm saying is, if you're seeing something, some article or something that is happening around, you will go and end up doing a lot of protection, a lot of additional security measures, a lot of new tools, a lot of new services will be enabled, and which will result in a lot of cost increase for the end customer. You'll have to discuss it in details about the cost with the business owner or the application owner, and with their consensus, you have to go and apply those additional benefits. Otherwise, the cost will keep on increasing. Okay, again, as I told you, the dependency with the cloud provider will slightly increase if you want to migrate out of the data center, or if you want to do some changes. There is a lot of dependency you have with the provider. And in cloud, it is all public cloud, right? We always need to have a stable internet connection. If there is a big internet issue, there will be a lot of services that will be impacted. Many customers will not have access to. So you're hearing that US East data center in AWS went down for a few hours, and that resulted in too much of revenue loss or whatever, right? So there is a lot of dependency on internet. There is a lot of dependency on the service provider here. So you need to have a very good stable internet connection to have stable access to your services. Okay, always read the privacy statements or terms and conditions very clearly, like your insurance. So you need to read your terms and conditions from the provider very properly, and the privacy statements, contracts, all those things has to be properly read before you go and choose a particular provider. Okay, so there are some other challenges. For example, getting into cloud is not very easy. There is a steep learning curve. That is the reason many of you are coming and learning cloud now. So including your CEO or manager or general manager or VP, everyone is trying to learn the basics of cloud. So there should be a complete cultural change. There needs to be a big adoption that has to happen. Okay, so there is a learning curve. There is a kind of a training that is needed for everyone because of the way that cloud operates. So that's the reason we are into this session. Okay, so these are the primary things that we thought of discussing today: cloud benefits, cloud service model, cloud deployment model, cloud characteristics, and cloud demerits. And I'll explain Emmanuel now. Okay, so here, okay, so what is your confusion with this? You are saying that With IBM example, does it mean okay? So they are not going to rent it. See, for example, IBM as a company, they have their own data center in different geographical region. For example, in the US or in the Germany or in many UK locations, IBM has got their physical data centers present in a lot of the location. And if you ask me whether their complete data center is fully making them profitable or bringing revenue, they have a very big data center space. See, after virtualization came into picture, lot of physical servers got reduced because of the nature of virtual machines and so on. Instead of 10,000 servers, we just have only 1,000 servers or 1,000 physical servers, and we have got very less power requirement, cooling requirement. But IBM might have a very big data center space. So what they can do to get more revenue, they can use that data center space to do some kind of renting to their customers. For example, IBM can talk to their end customer like Mercedes or Nissan or whoever, and then ask them whether they want to run their services in IBM data center, and they can only pay for running those services or renting those hardware. Okay, it's a kind of rented model. So IBM is not getting the data center space from Amazon or Microsoft. Its own IBM's own data center space, which they are leasing or renting for their customers to earn revenue or generate revenue out of it. That is what they call it. We call it as hosted private cloud. Are you clear, Emmanuel?
Yeah, okay, Sandy. But
Yeah.
just to, in what ways this IBM thing differs from GCP or AWS or Azure?
Okay, the IBM will not allow Emmanuel or Stanley to go and create resources there, right? It's private cloud. It's private to dedicated customers, dedicated organization, and only they will allow certain set of limited customers to run the services there. Only IBM's client, IBM's customer can run the services. It's not public cloud. So GCP, AWS, Azure, these are all public cloud. Even Emmanuel or myself, whoever can go and create an account and start running our services, startup or mid-level company or large level company. But IBM will not allow the startups or someone to come and sit in their data center. It's only for a private set of people. That's why we call it as private cloud. Make sense?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, now let's talk about a couple of other points here. Okay, we thought of discussing how is the cloud market and also how are Indian IT companies doing in the current cloud strategy. We have got few more minutes. Let's discuss that. Okay. Okay, sure. Okay, so now if you look at the public cloud adoption, okay, sorry, what happened? Okay, view slideshow from the current slide. Okay, so if you look at here, as on date, okay, I think this looks little 2 years old, but still it is valid. So if you look at the experimenting ratio or plan to use percentage, there are a lot of people saying that they want to use Google Cloud. But what is their current customer utilization? Only 19% of the customers are using Google Cloud platform. And 22% of the customers are experimenting. They are doing POC, they are trying to do some proof of value, and they are experimenting it. 14% of the people say, okay, they are happy with Google Cloud and they want to adopt it. But if you look at AWS and Azure, already 60% of the customers or 61% of the customers is already using AWS platform. This is as of 2019. This has grown to 70% plus. This has grown to close to 70% already. Okay, so already using Azure Cloud, and 16% of the people are experimenting, which is very much equal. And if you look at the plan to use ratio, it is higher than AWS. That is the reason last 3-4 years Azure has grown like anything, and they have reached neck on neck with AWS. Like see, if you look at here, until 2014-15, Microsoft Azure was nowhere in the market. It was less than 20%. I told you the reason, right? Initially, it was branded as Windows Azure, and they were not allowing any open source product, or they were not happy with running Linux operating systems because they have their own Microsoft Windows, they have their own Microsoft SQL Server. They did not allow all the open source product to be hosted on their cloud platform. And after 2014-15 time, that is when they opened up the cloud platform for open source, and customers started using it, or started leveraging the benefits out of it. So you can see that year on year it has got a very steep growth. Now it is very close to 70%. Both AWS and Azure, they are all having 70% of the customers consuming it. So maybe some of you are good in mathematics, you will start questioning me how 60 plus 50 plus 20 and it is not equating to 100, right? So it is not that way. See, for example, if you talk about Fortune 100 companies, some of the Fortune 100 companies, they use all three cloud. Okay, some of their applications are hosted on Microsoft platform because the application is compatible with Microsoft Windows and Microsoft SQL and other things, and they run those application in Microsoft Azure. Some application they go and run it on AWS or Google for some specific feature and benefits. Okay, so Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 companies, they might use multiple clouds, okay, AWS, Azure, and GCP all, or they might be using hybrid cloud or whatever. So that is the reason you cannot accumulate them, or you cannot accumulate them to derive 100%. Okay, so the same company might use both Azure and AWS together. And see, the other providers like Google Cloud, they are close to 20%. Oracle is also having around 10-12%. Alibaba Cloud is a regional provider in Asia market. They have good customers, but not heavy. DigitalOcean, it was having a very good market in 2016, but it is not, because of the heavy competition from the top three providers. It is declining. Even VMware Cloud on AWS, that is also growing. See, if you look at here, 15-20% VMware Cloud on AWS. Okay, so that means AWS Cloud itself plus VMware Cloud on AWS together, it is close to 90%, which is very huge, right? Yeah. And private cloud, this is private cloud adoption. Private cloud, VMware is a monopoly in that. So VMware has got close to 55% of the customers using VMware product in their private cloud platform. So other platform like Azure Stack or the VMware vSuite. Okay, so VMware vSphere, VMware vCloud Director, VMware vSuite combined together, it is close to 80% of the market. Okay, so OpenStack was very heavily discussed in 2016-15 time. After that, I don't know, because of the heavy competition from the public cloud provider, or some kind of vulnerability issues and all those things, OpenStack started seeing a decline. Okay, so it reached close to 20% of the customer in 2017, and again now after IBM taking over Red Hat and some changes in the acquisitions and mergers, so it is seeing a positive incline in the product. Okay, so other product like CloudStack, AWS Outpost, that is also growing in the market, but they are not very heavy like VMware. VMware is a monopoly in private cloud. Okay, so if you look at the Magic Quadrant from Gartner, Gartner is a third party who generally goes and look into the current market, and then they come up with a what you call assessment report, where they will say which providers are doing good. See, the leaders means they have to have customers from all the different industry vertical. When I say industry vertical, the customer should be coming from healthcare, automobile or automotive, or what you call the financial industry. Every industry should have to be covered by the leaders. So if you are only doing good in specific industry segment, or if you're only doing good in a specific market, for example only in Asia or only in Oracle related products, then you are niche players. You are not focused on a larger group of segment. You are only focusing on a small segment. For example, Alibaba Cloud is good in Asia market, Oracle is good in their own services, IBM is good in private cloud or only set of their own segment. So they are not focused on all the industry or all the regions. If you are leader in all of them, then you will be part of the leader segment. See, if you look at the revenue, Microsoft leads it just because they have I mean, here if you look at it, they are talking about Microsoft commercial cloud. They are not talking about only Azure. Okay, so if it is only Azure, then it is less than Amazon Web Services. But if you are combining Microsoft Azure, Office 365, or Microsoft 365, or your Dynamics, all those CRM and all those products combined together, Microsoft Commercial Cloud has got a very huge billion in terms of revenue. So it's the market leader. Okay, but if you talk about IBM or Oracle, they are having their own small set of segment, and they are having some niche customers or niche players. Okay, so Microsoft CEO has become the lead in the recent past, right? 2 years back, again Microsoft CEO took the lead, and for contiguous 6 or 7 years, I think Amazon CEO was the number one. And recently, after all increase in adoption of Azure and Microsoft Commercial Cloud product, Microsoft has become a leader in terms of revenue, cloud revenue. Okay, so see, if you look at the growth, Microsoft in 2019, they were somewhere here, and they are definitely growing. Similarly, there were a lot of competition from Tencent Cloud and some third party, but they are nowhere now. Okay, similarly, let's go to the other areas. If you look at the IT companies, okay, so look at 2019 to 2020. 2019, TCS was in visionary. They were starting to help customers adopting cloud or getting into cloud native. But within 1 year, where they are? TCS is in leader segment. Okay, so if you are going and joining TCS now, they are already into leader segment. They have defined their processes very well. They have got a very good customer base. They have got different customers from different industry vertical, different region. So that is why they are called as leaders. Similarly, if you look at Capgemini, they are also climbed a lot. They have come to the leader segment. Okay, so these companies are doing extremely very well. But companies like HCL, they are still in visionary segment. And companies like, for example, DXC Technology, they have come from niche players to challenges segment. So there are companies which are making a lot of progress. See, for example, if you're going and joining companies like Accenture, Deloitte, Capgemini, they are already doing very well in the cloud market. Maybe you might not be able to go and create a lot of new artifacts or documentation or design, because they might already have a lot of processes, documentation, and knowledge base, because they are already in leader segment. But if you're going and joining companies like NTT Data, NordCloud, or Fujitsu, or these companies, Infosys, you might have a lot of learning curve there along with the company's growth. Company is also trying to put together a lot of framework and new models to get better in the cloud. So you will also learn along with them. Okay, so this is how the Indian IT companies or the MNCs, global MNCs, are doing in the cloud market. Okay, so cloud adoption we already discussed. Okay, so now time for a knowledge check. Can you guys try and define what is cloud computing?
On-demand delivery of IT resources.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I thought I was having some audio issue. Okay, so what is another name for on-premises deployment?
Private cloud.
Private cloud, right? Okay, good. Again, one more time. Which of the following is definition of cloud computing?
Option 3, on-demand availability of computers source.
Option 2.
Option 3, on-demand availability of computer system resources.
Yeah, sorry, my phone number it is a little busy. Someone tried calling and I got disconnected. Okay, so yeah, it is on demand. The on demand is the keyword everywhere, right? So people, I mean, but be careful in the exam. Maybe you might have to read all the options before you decide. Okay, so read on this. Okay, you only want to manage applications and data. Which cloud computing model is suitable?
Platform
as
Platform as a service. Yeah, see, we need to manage application and data. We need to manage. So if you're going for software as a service, even application and data being managed by the provider. So option is platform as a service. Okay, what is the pricing model of cloud computing?
Pay as you go model.
Pay as you
Pay
go.
as you
Yeah,
go.
pay as you go model. Very good.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Okay, yeah. Which of the following is not an advantage of cloud computing? Always read the question properly. They will have some bold characters or bold letters, bold words. So you have to answer accordingly.
First one.
Oh, you say that trade capital capex into opex is not an advantage?
No, it's advantage. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Second option, train your
Yeah,
employee list.
yeah, train your employees list. No one will say go and train your employees list, right? You need to train our employees more to adopt into cloud technology. Yeah, answer is second option. Yeah, train your employees list is answer. Which of the following is not one of the five characteristics of cloud computing?
Dedicated support agent to help you deploy
Dedicated
application.
support
Correct.
agent to help you.
Dedicated agents will not be provided to you to deploy applications. See, whenever you go for not or striking out the odd one, whichever is something not closer to what you feel is correct, you can choose that. Yeah. So company would like to benefit from advantages of public cloud, but would like to keep sensitive asset in its own infrastructure. Which deployment model should the company use?
Hybrid
Hybrid
cloud.
model.
Hybrid.
Hybrid
Hybrid
cloud.
model. Yeah, hybrid model. Yeah. Okay, fine. So let me mute the line here. Okay, see, when it comes to a cloud deployment model, I think the hybrid cloud model, we need to understand a little more there. So it's a mix of public and private, right? So when you say mix of public and private, so the data sensitive information will be remaining on your private data center. Okay, so in your own data center, you'll have the data sensitive application. In the public cloud, you will have the front end data insensitive stuff. For example, your web servers will not have any content, so it will be hosted there, even your app and all those things. But database servers and all those stuffs will be remaining within your on premises. Similarly, some customers will want to have active passive clustering between your on premises and public cloud. If on premises goes down, then you can use the public cloud. Similarly, there are concepts like cloud bursting. When there is a huge demand or huge increase in market, suddenly there is a spike, you can add more servers in public cloud. And when the spike is coming down, then you can decommission those servers from public cloud. So based on the cloud demand or based on the customer demand, you can add more servers and remove it in the public cloud platform. So you don't have to invest anything more on your private cloud. Similarly, some people will only take backups to cloud. Okay, they will have all the servers in on-prem and the backups will be stored in the cloud platform. So there are some use cases like that. Even you will also have disaster recovery, business continuity between on-prem and the public cloud. So hybrid cloud is having a mix of workload in both on-premises and the public cloud environment. Okay, so these are the content that I thought of discussing with you all, and I'm open for any questions. Even if you want to ask questions in Tamil, feel free to ask now. Okay, I'm done with today's content. Okay, so I'm opening the floor for questions. If you're good with the content, if you're happy with what you learned, you can feel free to drop off. I'll be here for 5 more minutes. You can ask any questions if you have. Thank you for joining.
So Stan, the recording also will be available in Google Cloud, I mean
No,
Gmail,
it will
or
be
it is
available. It will be available via YouTube private playlist. Whatever email ID you have given to me, that email ID will have access to the recording.
okay. Will you share it later, right? Or
Yeah, today it will be available. In next 30 minutes to 1 hour, you will get access to the current live session recording.
okay, like recording plus and these notes and everything,
Yeah, the
right?
notes and everything access, correct.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. I'll also stop the recording. Any other points about community cloud? Yeah, good question. Okay, let me share here. See, for example, Emmanuel, let's go to the public cloud platform. See, if you take Microsoft Azure, Azure, they have a separate. Yeah, my voice got disconnected. My phone has started ringing. I'm connected to my mobile data. So see, Emmanuel, this is what it is. Okay, so Microsoft Azure is providing cloud for government alone. They are providing cloud for education purpose alone. See, if I go and look through their cloud platform, see, let's see this. Okay, these are all examples of community cloud. You cannot go and run your services on this. Only the government agencies or only the DoD, the intelligence community, the federal civilian, the state and local government entities can go and run their services on this particular cloud. Similarly, if you talk about specific cloud environment, I'll explain this again tomorrow. But again, since you have asked it, I'm just giving some examples. Okay, so if I go and choose a specific region, let's go and choose a particular data center. Okay, let's say anything. For example, let's take Asia Pacific, or let's me take New Zealand. See, if you look at here, what exactly is happening on New Zealand? So New Zealand government, they are spending a lot of money for expanding their what do you call? See, if you look at okay. See, New Zealand wants to have a new. They have started a new initiative along with Microsoft to give training to their employment, new the people who are not having job or jobless. So they are purpose built for something. Okay, it is for a specific target, or it is for a specific community. It can be government, or it can be employment training related, or it can be for healthcare, or it can be any different use cases. So it is for a specific community or specific requirement. Okay, that is what we call it as community cloud. Okay, so I'll stop the recording. Okay, so thank you all.